Hello and thanks for staying with us. Welcome to Political Platform on Raypower FM. My name is Amechi Anapweze. Beautiful Wednesday midweek. Yes, midweek edition comes with always something different, and we like to hide the spice. Yes, remember OIC, the rapper. Too much juice, too much sauce. Yes, we'll make sure that we sauce it for you. Tebetia will join me. He's caught up in traffic. But we want to quickly tell you that the 2026 budget has been passed by the National Assembly. Within days or perhaps hours, it will get to the assent. Total budget is 68 trillion naira, an increase of 9 trillion from what was submitted to the president. Just to remind you that the increase is at the instance of the president. They have looked at the increasing prices of crude oil in the international market, and the government has said, yes, we are getting more, so we'll spend more. So that's why they added additional 9 trillion. So government is gaining from this Gulf war crisis. What about you as a citizen? Are you gaining? No, you know the answer. You're losing because you're paying more for fuel. Yesterday, I filled my tank with how much? About 80,000 naira. I said, wow. I just thought of the opportunity cost. What I would have done with 80,000. If I have filled my tank with 30,000 and I have 50,000 remaining, what would I have done with it? So much. Now, I thought about, as I was driving into the fuel station, I passed through a bus stop. I saw scores of people waiting endlessly, perhaps waiting for the big bus that will indeed be cheaper for them to jump in and get to their destination. Some people are also covering the distance with their God-given legs. Well, for the elderly, it's advised that you walk at least 30 minutes a day, but these are young people that are naturally mobile and dynamic. So the treks that they're having may not have some health benefits, but it has financial benefits. So while the government is gaining from the war between US, Iran, and Israel, citizens are paying the heavy price. So additional 9 trillion to spend. The House of Representatives has also passed the budget. Not just that, they extended the life of the 2025 budget to June 31, 2026. So Nigeria again, operating multiple budgets. I'll Google and research, even ask AI after this program, how many countries of the world operate multiple budgets? Some may say, could it be only in Nigeria? We'll wait to see. So the president, apart from saying he will get additional money from Gulf War windfall, he's also asking the National Assembly, and they have obliged him to indeed approve a loan of $5 billion US. Chooks, come right over. When you have $5 billion US, what readily comes to your mind? That's the additional loan Nigeria will be getting, and been approved. Our present loan exposure is about 153 trillion naira, they said. What we are hearing is that the Tinubu administration, within less than 3 years, has more than doubled Nigeria's loan. In terms of what Buhari in 8 years accrued. What he accrued in 8 years has been doubled by the Tinubu administration in less than 3 years. So by the 4th year, by 2027, when they come again for loan, who knows whether it will triple what Buhari did in 4 years.
Yeah, good morning, Amici. Good morning.
What Buhari did in 8 years, sorry.
Good morning, Amici. Good morning, our listeners and viewers on YouTube. Well, it's just a sad situation we have found ourselves, as a country economically. And when you look at the figures, 155 trillion naira, that's no small money for any country, to pay off. And it puts so much pressure on the future of Nigeria. Those who are going to be working.
You people who are you're the ones that will pay.
Yes, we're part of those who are going to pay, those debts off. But it's a sad one. But the major thing is, what have all those monies been used for? That's the problem now. Can we account? Can the government actually account for those monies? Since 2023, when they came into, power, they've been borrowing. I don't think they spent more than over a month when they were in power. They started borrowing, money. And then we keep hearing revenue has gone up. We've saved money, from subsidies that have been removed.
Where is the money saved? Someone was saying when Abacha increased partially price of petroleum products, there was PTF. When Goodluck Jonathan partially removed, there was Shopee. When Buhari partially increased fuel price, there was NSIP, Social Investment Program. When Tinubu entirely removed fuel subsidy, what do we have? CNG.
Yes, we have CNG, which is also on the high side. I think you need 100,000. They're about to convert your car. They will also argue that there's been NEL fund, for student loans for very good, but it's not just enough. That's not enough to buffer all that Nigerians are actually going through at the moment. We don't even have a government that really takes active measures, to protect the citizenry. When things go volatile, economically out there, we just go about our business, which is what we're facing now.
On your own.
Yeah, 1,500.
You are on your own.
1,400 naira for petrol, what we're paying. When there are countries putting caps on energy prices, trying to do things to protect their citizenry. We've not even heard any policy.
I asked Dr. Muda Yusuf, the Chief Executive Officer of Center for Private Enterprise, former DG of Lagos Chamber of Commerce, and on my show on our sister station, Focus Nigeria, AIT, yesterday, I asked him, because I was lost, maybe I'm wrong, what is that the government has done to cushion the effect of rising prices of crude oil? There was none. So the government has abandoned you to your own. They are collecting the gains, excess revenue.
The government are enjoying it.
Trickling in
everybody
into the federation. They're enjoying. Why you are left on your own completely.
Yes, and if you look at these monies that are being saved, and you talk about allocations have increased, no doubt, yes, they have increased. But what are those projects that affect you and I? And affects the average core member who's just starting life, the average graduate who's just starting life? They really aren't. Meanwhile, we are having international airports being built, which they will use because they don't, ply the roads. I ply, the roads. I go on road trip with my friends. I can tell you, when you go on a road trip, your back is gone, basically, because the roads, are not great.
Is it only your back? Do you go with your rosary?
Yes, I have my rosary all day, every day.
So it's in your pocket now. It's inside your pocket.
It's part of
when your travel is on your hand.
You're holding it. It's part of your protection. You're praying. Because if something happens, your family will feel the repercussions to raise money and get you out. So
crowdfunding.
These are the major problems. And these are conversations that need to be had going into the election period 2027. Nigerians need to start making demands of their government. This is what we want.
Accountability.
Yes.
Now, what are they doing for you? Nothing. And in one of the mails you read, a 74-year-old man raised this issue from Ogun State. He sent to us a letter saying, what's the government doing for me? Every day they give me read this one. I pay a retiree. And what are they doing for you? It's all about accountability. You ask, this money that are borrowing, where is it going to? Despite the so-called savings from fuel subsidy, they claim they will channel to education, channel to health, and all that. But under Buhari administration, they printed 23 trillion naira from the CBN. Ways and means they call it, but they print money. They credit government account with 23 trillion. Government will go and spend the way they like. As we speak, after more than 3 years, there is no record anywhere of where they spend this money. Who got what? I'm talking about 23 trillion naira. There is no record. The National Assembly, the Senate set up a committee more than 2 years ago to investigate. And I told Nigerians, those ones that are just looking for their fair share, that are using it to blackmail those responsible or to get something in return. I told you that when National Assembly sets up a committee to investigate, nothing comes out of it, because since 1999, of the over 3,000 investigations they have carried out, it's only 2 that were concluded. So when you hear investigation, they are using it as a blackmail tool to get something from those involved. They set up that committee. Tave, am I lying? Have you heard of that committee after 2 years? Their mandate was to track what happened to the 23 trillion that was printed. And that was the end of it all. So accountability is thrown to the dogs. And to the extent, as long as we fail to hold our leaders to account, they will reinforce impunity. If they print 23 trillion and spend it the way they like,
they go borrow money. And
tomorrow, if you don't ask questions and insist they render account, they will print 100 trillion and spend.
Amechi, good morning to you. Good morning, listener. Nigerians need to understand what happened at the National Assembly yesterday. Remember when this Middle East crisis started, we raised it here about oil windfall. That when it happened in the Gulf War, when IBB was in government, there have been questions and nobody knows the whereabouts of those monies. And it's happening again. This time, what they've done is to raise the budget benchmark, and all of that. So it got up to about 9 trillion, that increased and all of that, showing that they're having more money. What people are raising is, we said if there is windfall, there should be a savings because you don't know what will happen after the windfall, which is what they are not doing. They are spending everything. They are going to spend everything.
And it's not enough. They're also borrowing.
It's not enough. When you have your target is to produce over 2 million barrels million barrels a day, and you are barely managing 1.6. And then it means no matter what the windfall will be, you just be marking up, and all of that. It's very poor economics, very bad one. We raised this issue also about the fiscal policy, and all of that. We said the president's team should put on their thinking cap, but they refused to do that. What we have seen is a situation where the president, just like the late Muhammadu Buhari, took advantage of COVID. Everything, COVID caused this, and COVID went to recession twice. COVID caused this, and even though the first recession was because he blocked the borders and all of that, but every other thing, COVID, were recovering from COVID. They even came with the economic recovery and growth agenda and all of that.
Economic recovery and growth plan, ERPG.
This one now, in the last 1-2 weeks, there is no statement the president will issue. There is nothing he will say. He's addressing people that he will not mention Middle East crisis that is affecting Nigeria. Nigerians have been going through a lot already, even before the war in Iran. This just added to compounded the problem.
And that's what you call adding salt to an injury.
And they refuse to do practically anything or anything about it, except what we've seen in Oyo State, where there's a 10,000 naira or so for public workers and all of it. So it's so sad. It's so sad. Those days when people look forward to budget, even MTAs, they will tell, when you go there, they will tell you, they've not passed budget now, they've not approved budget, they've not signed budget now. But today, nobody cares in Nigeria whether there is a budget or there's no budget. Everybody's life moves on because so far as they're concerned, that budget has no meaning, practically no meaning, to their lives. And you are talking of borrowing. He went to London. The money they were supposed to use to so-called upgrade the Lagos port and all of that is a loan. And that is what was approved yesterday.
Almost $1 billion.
$1 billion, almost $1 billion, and then the other one is about 6 or 5 billion. So it beats imagination. But like we know, it's not just a rubber stamp, but a photocopy National Assembly. Whatever the president sends in, your photocopy. If they'll have a clearer version of what the president has
by the time they photocopy it and send it back to the president will say, wow, what did you use a foreign printer for this? I use government press to print this.
So, and by today or tomorrow, the president, will most probably be signing because it's almost the same thing that he has sent to them and all of that. It's a sad commentary. And the worst aspect of it is the oversight. Nobody will even go and oversight anybody. Whether those so-called projects, that
when the oversight, they're coming for their fair share. So and before they come, we have already prepared it ahead.
Exactly.
That's the way our nation.
So Nigerians,
they'll tell you they're coming. You prepare it. Sometimes in dollars. Because it's not to make it too bulky. And naira has lost value.
Completely. So we will not just lament and say, the National Assembly has done this, the president has done that, and all of that. What we need to do under this circumstance is for the Nigerian people, the Nigerian media, to stand up to this government, hold them accountable. Look, by the time the president signs the budget, let's pick it. The other time they were talking about how much is being budgeted for meals, foreign trips, and all of that. Let's pick and look at it properly, and also follow through with the releases and what is being spent on, you know, and all that, and hold them accountable. That's the only way, you know, by the time they see, because the opposition parties are practically dead. By now, I should have expected that the ADC or
hammer on all of
the Labour Party, you know, we call it PDP is part of APC. You know, you expect that
that's what they call it, PDAPC.
You expect them to have come up with even Nigerian Labour Congress, even the other one, TUC. They should have come up with alternatives. They should have raised it, but
voices.
They will not say
drowned.
They will not say
everybody is afraid, and everybody is afraid. Or you're benefiting from the system. Now, who will save the country? I recall Lot and the family when they were running away. It's Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yes.
They first asked God, the prophet. God said, "Can you give me 100 people?"
Okay, Abraham,
yes, help me, because the anger I'm not comprehending very well. God asked him, "If you can give me 100 people from good people from Sodom, I'll save that community town." They couldn't find them. They kept coming down. Is it up to 1 or 2?
I think you're up to 50 or so.
So even if it's 50 Nigerians that have said, we will not be part of this bazaar, we will raise our voice, like we are doing here. We are taking big risk, big gamble. We know the repercussions of what we do. But we have said, what's the essence of life? If you see problems where majority of citizens are in penury and you keep quiet, I mean, your conscience should prick you and say, speak up. You can join your... In this session of the cross we do every Friday and Wednesday in this Lenten season, there's a place I like very well in one of the prayers. Fear not that can only take the body, but rather fear that one that can take your body and your spirit. So do not fear that will come after you. They only take your body. The spirit came from God. They don't have access to it. So we have to speak up for the interest of the people.
Even your body, I'm not sure that anybody under a democratic would take your body when you are not going through the judicial process and all of that. When we say people should raise their voices and all, we say send mails. How many people are sending mails? There are radio stations, people are calling in, analysts are on radio stations, are on TV stations, online. Bombard them with all these issues. Make your point clear so that it gets to them.
I also think we have a problem about people as well who are fortunate enough to get there into power. Like we saw in the last elections, you know, people got into the House of Rep and all under the wave of a certain
Labour Party.
And we didn't see anything positive from that. They joined the bazaar. Yes, and then for somebody who's also interested, they have probably kicked out the average Nigerian, because how much do you pay to get a governorship ticket? How much do you pay to get a ticket in the House of Rep? How much do you pay? So all of these problems, we just need to, as a people collectively, find a way to just stand up against the system. I think that's the best possible way than to hope that 5 people are going to go there and change things.
Yeah, indeed. Just like you said, it's people power.
Yes.
Right now, what Nigeria needs it, because almost all the institutions, go and pick then Father Kuka, his book, Democracy and Civil Society. He spoke about how labor unions, student union, all of them were decimated by the...
Even Father Kuka, we are not hearing from him himself. The author of that book.
So where is that become of hope? It is the Nigerian people. You must voice out, you must say it. If you're on social media, if you're on radio, if you're on television, put it out there. By the time the opinion is so much in their faces, they know what they do. I think
you see how Teve is shouting, dropping the words. When he joins them now, he begins to stammer and draw.
When he gets to
you know, instead of dropping it, bam, bam, bam. You know, understand. I mean, you know that something has happened.
So if I have a better explanation, which is what I keep saying.
Yes.
You know, even with what we are saying now, if the government comes up with alternatives, you know, comes up with explanation, people will understand. But they are not telling Nigerians anything. They are not doing anything. So what do we say? What do we do?
So the way, as we welcome the ladies now to read the mails, the way our democracy is structured, there are checks and balances. You have the National Assembly, which has completely collapsed in terms of oversight function. You have civil society. Many of them have also been compromised. A few are standing up. You have the media. A greater part may be compromised, but I tell you, if they pocket the media, that is, just run away. Because that's the only voice. The court of public opinion, where if even the judicial, people don't go to court now. They look for a very dark man and alike, so come to the media or go to some radio stations where they'll be given the opportunities to speak up. So that the last line of defense now are those few civil society activists and a section of the media. If they go down on your own, ladies, let's have it.
Good morning and welcome to the mail segment. I am Aichida Majekodomi.
And I am Fumilayo Emopai. Our first mail is coming from Emeka Mba from Abuja. And he says, well, the praise singing of how Nigeria never knew it so good, but under President Tinubu's government by Nigeria's chief sycophants was still reverberating in Abuja. Gunmen suspected to be Fulani militia were shooting innocent Nigerians that were enjoying the Palm Sunday evening in Angwan Rukuba, part of Jos, capital city of Plateau State. At the last count, 25 people lay dead, murdered in cold blood. I made bold to always maintain that people bringing the idea or advocating for the rehabilitation and reintegration of these heartless killers under whatever guise are the enemies of Nigeria and should be treated as such. President Tinubu should take this seriously and do the needful. The idea is very encouraging to the criminal or killers and insensitive to and demoralizing to the victims. This is why insecurity is festering.
And still on the just killings, Clifford Alozie from Madala in Niger State says, my heart goes to the immediate families and the people of Plateau over the killings of innocent citizens in the state. The killings are becoming one too many in this country. As Shola would ask, how many people are ready to change the leadership in this country with their voter cards? Our leaders in this part of the world are too selfish, which is why a governor on a condolence visit would address his people from inside an armored personnel carrier. Almost all the governors defect to the ruling APC government with armored personnel carrier, leaving you, the poor masses, to shield yourselves and children with plantain leaves. The condolences visit of the governor in an armored personnel carrier clearly defined the difference between the leaders and their followers in Nigeria. Let us be wise for once.
Christy Victor from Cuba is also giving his view on the crew members. He said, that crew, Dr. Amechi, whenever I listen to you lamenting that the masses should go and vote to enable change in the country, I wonder if you just visited Nigeria. If you say that we all are in this mess because many have refused to vote, then you're not fair at all to the people. Were you around during 2023 election? Did you see how people came out in the large number? Did masses get their heart desires? No, is the answer. The only solution is if our leaders can repent and change their ways.
And Sikiru Raimi from Ota in Ogun State says, I received a bill from my state government a few weeks ago demanding me to pay 179 naira 12 kobo as land use and amenities charge. The bone of contention is, what amenities do I enjoy from the state government? I provide virtually all that I need for survival, some of which are the responsibilities of the government. I provide potable water, I pay for community security, I contribute to make the street road passable, I contribute to repair community transformer. Due to epileptic electricity
Keep sending your mail with your name and location to the political platform at thegroup.com.
Thank you so much for the mails from our YouTube account. Jeremiah Okudo says it's heartbreaking, the fuel price hike. 1,367 is outrageous. We don't have labor unions anymore. And he went ahead to declare NLC dead. Abdul Gafaido says it's only in Nigeria that you can operate multiple budgets. But there's a disagreement here. Someone is saying there are other countries that are operating multiple budgets. Let me quickly get to that. But you can make your comments while I search for it.
Yes, the issues, it's always nice to listen and hear Nigerians. Most of the mails were also talking about the issue in Plateau State. I think it's something we must speak about. We expect that most probably the governor will be at the State House this morning or this afternoon, because the president invited him for further contact. He met with top security officials yesterday. What we saw in Jos, I lived in Jos for most part of my growing up life. And I know I stayed very close. Those who know Jos very well, I stayed somewhere in Dogondute, very close to, Angwa Rukuba. And if you know the terrain and if you know what that place is, then clearly you will understand. Somebody just drove in, one sector have been banned, where somebody from wherever location drove all the way into the city, stood by the road and opened gunshots and started shooting, and all of that speaks volumes as to what has happened.
Okay.
And is it different from what happened in Maiduguri, for instance, where suicide
They
bombers
use
because in this place,
teenager teens, early teens.
Exactly. In this place, before now, there used to be suicide bombers in Jos too. But in this place, you cannot go in with suicide, except there's no way you can even conceal your identity. So if they do that in Maiduguri, they are doing this in Jos, then every other place should be concerned. Every source port, any motor park, any market, even in Abuja, we should be concerned, because this can most probably happen.
Okay. Simon Ojonye says Nigeria, India, Indonesia, and Kenya are countries presently operating multiple budgets.
Well, first, to also add to the security issues, I think this morning on the papers, the Minister of Defense was talking about how a shoot-on-sight approach should be taken, to handle terrorists. And this is one thing that we've complained about. Everybody has a different approach to handling the situation of insecurity in the country. There has to be a template that everybody has to follow. You don't want to hear the Chief of Army Staff saying, "Oh, they are our brothers, they are our prodigal sons," and all of that. And some are negotiating. So it has to be a collective action to go with fire for fire, which the Defense Minister was saying today on the dailies as well. And going to the
he said fire to fire, fire for fire. Okay, that was the immediate past Chief of Defense Staff.
Yes,
he has always maintained his stance that you do not negotiate in any way. He prefers fire for fire. But the man that replaced him is saying, a prodigal son.
Yes.
So it tells you about shift in positions by the defense chiefs, as it were.
The president has given several times, even this week, the statement they released, he also gave orders again. Go and do this, go and do that, go and do that. If the Chief of Defense Staff is disobeying what the president did, the good thing is the president has asked them I hope he's reviewing their performance. I hope he's reviewing their performance, because at this material point in time, anybody, whatever security position you are holding, if you're unable to deliver, there's no reason why you should be there for 24 hours. Kick them out. Kick them, sack them, let them go. It's not
how many have been sacked?
Let them go. If you're unable to deliver, and you are making excuses, repentance, and all of those nonsense that Nigerians don't want to hear, that will not even solve the problem in any way. That's my concern. By the time they go to meet with the president, they are telling him cook and put stories, telling him, painting him a picture, giving him excuses, excuse me, as to why things will not work. But the president must also have alternative sources of information. He must also be in charge as commander-in-chief.
But before we go, I just want to state that we need to find the problem where it's coming from in terms of this mentality. Because I don't think in the army, the police, they are training. They are giving that idea that you negotiate, with terrorists, you negotiate with bandits. People have taken up arms against the state. I don't think they are giving up, such training. So where this kind of ideology and mentality is coming from, that even our generals are also, parroting
mounting
it, is another problem.
Okay. Tell me, sorry about your cough.
Thanks.
So many people ask me, where is the Hindu and Yago, the originator of the concept of jumpology? They're asking whether he's still holding Nigeria's government to account. But he's not of the government, so is this side, after you're there, here, it's not like the PDAPC Is either you're in government or out of government. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a good time.